Carl and Brendan here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhbl.com, sure, and it is the big question. What three bands are you most looking forward to seeing at Slam Dunk 2023? We will be at the London version, Hatfield version of this lineup. If you're at the Leeds one, it's the same bloody thing. But we're going to choose three bands across its entire day that we are the most excited to see. It is a very bunch of bands across them. I've had a massive spanner in the works, absolute nightmare spanner in the works thrown in by Slam Dunk, confirming that the two headliners will play at exactly the fucking same time. You're like, what? What? So I've already spoken to my wife about this. It is all going to depend upon how much alcohol I've had by that point. So I can't, it's easy for me to predict and say I'm going to do this. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll go do half of one and half of the other. And then it's like, yeah, but like if I've had too much drink in me and I'm with everybody else, I'm having a good time, I'm just going to stay at one place. I know that. I already know that. So it's a real span. I'm of course talking about Offspring and Enter Shikari, but we are going to choose three bands across the entire lineup that we are personally most excited to see. You may not agree with our opinions, you may have your own. That's kind of the point. It's just ours. So do you want to get us started with this one?
Fuck me. All right, I'm gonna go for the easy one straight from the Offspring.
Okay.
I'm gonna straight off from the headliner, and this is gonna be tougher for me than I thought, because I realized actually while I was reading the lineup there that I don't have three, but I'm gonna come up with three, so it's fine. So I'm not just going off with the big one. I'm going off the big one because it's the only one I definitely know for sure at the moment. I hadn't seen the Offspring play. I've been an Offspring fan, I think I'd say, for most of my musical life at some form or another. They've always kind of been there in the background when I was younger. More so when I was younger, Smash sort of era onwards, I guess. Got a lot of like love and respect for them, a lot of nostalgia. To be honest, it's kind of like one of those bands, I guess, that kind of transcend time a little bit in that. I know my daughter likes a lot of their stuff as well. So, I can see it being like a great, fun show.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I expected exactly that, just to be a fun show. I am looking forward to seeing them. But comes back to that big fucking problem. I've seen the Offspring before. I'm not going to get many opportunities to see them. And this is why I keep getting stuck with this damn torn thing. It's because I've never seen Enter Shikari live, and I never want to go to an Enter Shikari show. So a festival's always been like, that will be the moment when I get to see them live. And it's like, well, they're here. I have no idea what to do. So I'm not putting either of them in my three. I'm just not going to put either in my three. I'm going to go lower down to where Landmarks are. Landmarks are an amazing band who have never let me down live. I also happen to think the vocalist who I've interviewed in the past is just a lovely human being. So that always warms me to them as well. But I love Landmarks. Last time I saw them, it was at the 229, the bigger 229 as well, not the small one, the bigger one. And they were amazing there as well. Well, it does sometimes feel like that their music and so on is geared for, I know it sounds so silly, but to an age range that I'm past now, and I will be like the old man with grey hair standing amongst the kids going crazy for it. And I completely understand that, but I just really admire this band. I really like the music they make. I think they fit perfectly at Slam Dunk, particularly in the stage they're on. So yeah, Landmarks, I think definitely you should go and check them out.
Oh no, have I got to go again?
Yes.
Fuck. I say all this stuff like I'm taking the piss. I know I'm going to have a good time.
There's enough there for you to have a good time.
I went to the last Slam Dunk, and if I'd have picked three bands beforehand, other than say Dropkick Murphys, the other bands I came out of there really loving wouldn't have been the three that I picked. I would never have picked, for example, the Interrupters, and like now that's like mine and Rose's jam. Like we love that shit, man. So I'm aware, like it's one of those things. I don't like I'm taking the piss just because I don't really know or like a lot of these bands as far as I'm aware, but I'm sure they're going to be great live. So the one I'm going to go for a second is a band that also just has a little bit of history between me and my daughter, and that is Billy Talent.
Ah, cool.
Randomly, probably, but I know three songs by Billy Talent, which Rose used to listen to when she was younger, and I used to listen to with her. Probably hits from the past, that sort of stuff, but I liked them. I thought they were good, and which she was looking through the lineup with me the other day, and she was like, "Oh, that's so cool! Imagine if they play like Red Flag or Fallen Leaves or whatever." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that would be fucking awesome, wouldn't it?" you know, stuff from when she was like 5 or 6. So, you know, so yeah, so I think that could be good fun as well. And also, it's nice, bouncy, energetic music. So I'm sure it'll be fun, hopefully in the sunshine with a few beers in my hand.
Exactly. The only thing you might have is them clashing with Bowling for Soup.
I don't like bowling for soup, but the problem is Gemma does and Rose does.
Yeah.
So I might be
Yes.
on my own at Billy Talent.
Yeah, I almost want to put Bowling for Soup in my top 3 because I've never seen Bowling for Soup live, and I will never go to a Bowling for Soup live show by itself. At festival, I might check. I'd be more tempted to check them out because while I don't love their music most of the time, I've got real love and admiration for Bowling for Soup as human beings. You know, when you just get, I know it's a silly thing to do, but they're just decent people, and I like that about them.
Yeah.
But the second band I'm going to choose, and it may even be slightly predictable, really, because I've seen this band loads. I really have. In fact, it was mine and my son's first ever live show. It was at Shepherd's Bush Empire, and it will always live in infamy because the show got stopped 40 minutes because some guy jumped off the fucking balcony and hit the ground so hard they had to call an ambulance. But Less Than Jake did actually continue the show afterwards and played well over curfew time. I just said it as Less Than Jake. I just fucking said it. I was trying to like dance around it to make it sound big, but it's Less Than Jake. Listen, the back catalogue speaks for itself. I adore this band. I love the fact that when I last saw them live at the Forum, I remember saying to my wife and said, you know what, might need a break for them for a while after this. You know, I've seen them live a few times now. Let's sort of take a break and re-energize ourselves for it, which makes this festival showing perfect. But I adore the album In With The Out Crowd, and obviously it was an album that's hated quite a lot, but since then has grown a popularity that when certain songs were played, and one of the vocalists in that set at Forum, I'll always remember turning around and went, oh yeah, you all used to hate this album. And I was just like, they fucking did, you know what I mean? Like, but listen, Jake, you know, provided it doesn't clash with something that Dan really wants to see, I'd expect him to be there for this as well, and just for it to be a really good time, particularly, we know they're hitting the hits, it's a festival show, it's Less Than Jake. Yes, that's my number 2.
Cool.
All right. Number 3.
All right. Okay. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom right-hand corner of it, and I'm going to go for Harriet.
Harriet, yeah.
There we go. Something safe.
Yes, safe.
Yeah, and obviously know them quite well. I think we covered quite a lot of the stuff on the site. Seen them at Bloodstock as well, I believe, a few years back.
Last year.
Was it last year? Oh,
it was last year, yeah.
Time flies.
Yeah.
So yeah, good band. Hardcore metal, corey stuff, but nice and sludgy and distorted and noisy and dirty, and kind of cool to see them on there, to be honest with you. I think that's a pretty cool spot for them. So yeah, there you go. Harriet. I know this is a kind of like little metal section and all that, you know, but even there, I'm like, Malevolence, it just seemed to play
everywhere at the moment now,
in the world, you know. And a couple of other bands in there that I do know, like Fit for a King, We Came as Romans, a few that I know by name, but I don't really, I think more from Dan speaking about them. So Harriet, like, well, I was just looking there, like it's like I feel like I was on the ocean in a boat looking for the lighthouse, and then I saw Harriet shining out, and I was like, oh, safety.
Amazing. It might be the first band actually seeing of the day then, considering based on position on the poster, if that's the lineup.
Unless we have to do that whole waiting to get through the fence thing again while they're playing.
Oh, right. Okay, so you've taken Harriet out of my hands. That's cool. I admit I am looking, and I'm at this stage now where there's lots of bands I'm okay with, but not necessarily ones that are jumping out at me, you know. So, but I am going to choose Static Dress, and I'm choosing Static Dress based on the fact that the first slam dunk I went to was the one in Leeds. From the later one, the one that occurred in September, what would have been September 2021, after it was delayed and so on. I went to Leeds, and after this kind of followed on hilariously a reaction that me and Dan did way back in the day that got heavy amounts of dislike, because I was quite critical about this band. And, you know, you can't be critical about music on the internet. Fuck that. So I kind of made it a point to start paying a bit more attention to Static Dress and see maybe what I was missing. So we had time to kill, and we got ourselves prepared for Static Dress to the point where we were literally at the front of the barrier. Oh, yes, we were at the literal front of the barrier. For 30 minutes, I watched the band be wild, weird, and quite wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So much so that I ended up buying a T-shirt from the band later on in the merch tent. I like Static Dress. I did back then. Watch that fucking video. I liked the band then. Just fucking stop. Take some criticism. So it's nice to see them back at the festival. Back at Slam Dunk 2 years after I've previously seen them. It seems like they're going to be playing a higher spot, potentially. I'm not sure about the timings yet, but I'm game to give Static Dress another go a couple of years later, see how much they've evolved and changed and so on. I think that's probably up there. I think, again, likely to be one for Dan as well. So yeah, I think Stack Dress for me is my third one.
Cool.
Yes, there are plenty of us dotted around, ones where, it depends about clashings, it depends about booze, it depends where we are at the time. But, I think giving a shout out to Trash Bowl, I wouldn't mind seeing them if that's an option. Flogging Molly, if you want a bit of that sort of Dropkick Murphys, but Flogging Molly style, that's there as well. If you want a bit more Scar, Punk, you've got Zebra Head a bit down the bottom too. There are two stages that there's almost nothing on there that I'm interested in. I don't know if you have the same. And it's the one with Yellow Card, The Academy Years, 4 Years Strong, Real Friends, Fireworks, Hawthorne Heights, and Destroy Boys, I think. And then Creeper, The Menzingers, Boston Manor, Trophy Eye, Spanish Love Song, Movements, and Sincere Engineer. Although I know some of these bands, and obviously I know Creeper quite well, Creeper haven't done anything that's wowed me in a long time. So they've really dropped far in my estimation. So that's why they're not one of my top three.
Yeah, they're not. None of those are in my top three because aside from Creeper, I've never actually. I think I've heard of Boston Manor, but aside from that, I've never actually fucking heard of any of these.
Yeah,
but it's the same with the bottom left corner as well. I don't know any of the bands in that at all.
Ooh,
not a single one.
Oh shit! I've heard of the Hunter. Wow, but that might actually be. I can't work out what that one is. Scene Queen. Actually, that rings a bell.
Sea Queen, Suko, Maggie, Lindemann. Is that anything to do with Till Lindemann?
I have no idea. It can't be, right?
I'm going to look it up quickly. Imagine that. Till might come out and do some fire shit.
It can't be.
Oh, no, she's an American singer. Oh, that's
fine. Okay.
You could have had a kid in America. Who's your dad? Who's your dad?
While Brennan tries to hunt down the elusive father of Maggie Lindemann, you know what to do. You got your top three? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music, and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror, and heavy metal. What else is life for?